My name is Drake Johnson, and I am autistic. I consider it to be more differently abled than disabled.
We're talking to Karen, and Karen is the artist of that beautiful flower that we just had a shot of. Karen, what can you tell me about yourself, your approach to life, and anything in regard to ability and disability?
My name is Karen Bohr, and my business is Karen Hapook Designs, and I named it, it's from the Bible. It means horn of beautiful colors or horn of paint. Well, art is really important to me because it's kind of my way of meditating. It's very healing. It helps me express myself.
Well, I have fetal alcohol syndrome and acute depression and a few other things, but mostly for my work, I just draw whatever pops into my head.
I am 23 years old. My name is Irene Rogers, and I like doing chainmail. I got into it because, to me, it's stable. I have ADHD, OCD, and PTSD. My first piece of chain was when my best friend's mom got me my first wallet. And it was because she knew that if I didn't have it chained to me, I was going to lose it.
Now we're talking to Whitney, and Whitney does what?
Photography.
Photography. So let's see some of it here.
Alright, so these are some of the photographs that I made, and I use Adobe Photoshop, and I really enjoy that because you can just have so many different options as to what you can do to the pictures, and it's kind of endless what you can do with it all. This is a picture of a flower that originally was just white petals, and I did some inverse contrast to this, and so it looks kind of retro-ish. And the same with this image. This mushroom was originally yellow, and I messed with that contrast as well.
I believe it was love at first sight. He resisted because he enjoyed being a bachelor and, you know, having lots of women follow him around. The first 2 years that I knew him, everywhere he went, he had an entourage, and they were mostly women, right? At least that's my perspective.
That's your perspective.
Yeah, well, watching you from the balcony at the hotel or whatever, there you were with all your women around you. Anyway, we finally got together, and we got married, and we bought this big house. But it was easy enough to make it accessible, and that's part of the reason we bought it. But people kept saying, you should have kids. This house is big. You have a big yard. You should have children.
I get to see the world in a different way and find interesting things other people don't. I grew up with 5 sisters, and I liked making gifts for people instead of buying them. So I got into jewelry making. I also had a love of stones and fossils, and so they meshed well together.
So we started getting foster kids. Literally the day we got our license, we got our phone call on the first child, and that was Drake. And that was 30 years ago this month.
I found lots of different ways to make beautiful things with very simple elements.
Well, this one is my name in circular Gallifreyan, which is all from Doctor Who, which I love. And butterfly eye, which is one of my favorite ones that I've done, is just something that just popped into my head, and I just felt like I just needed to get it out.
It doesn't take a lot of different stones to make a beautiful pattern, as long as you have different sizes, shapes, and colors.
To me, a disability means that there's something that, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something you can't do. It just means that you have to be more creative in finding a way to do it.
When I'm feeling down, I can create something, and it just makes me feel better. I have some disabilities. I have trouble with depression all my life and ADD, and it's been a way for me to kind of bring myself out of the depression.
I like nature photography. I like different still lifes and just everyday type things.
Well, this is a simple jasper, but they're all different. They're a lot like people.
I guess they figured because Dan had a disability, that meant we knew everything there was to know about disabilities, so they kept giving us kids that everyone else refused to take because most of them were, in fact all of them were neonatally exposed to alcohol and drugs, and some of them had other issues, extreme prematurity due to the drugs.
I have this eye over here, which is originally just a picture of an eye, and then I added the eye makeup as well and did an overlay of a flower in the eye. You can't really tell, but it's kind of just like multicolored.
And the one in the bottom is a dendritic jasper, which has a very unique formation in it. Looks like ferns.
Irene does these beautiful, are they bracelets or?
Some of them are bracelets, some of them are earrings. This one's actually just more of a necklace or a collar.
I'm not exactly sure what it
You
is.
took a trip to Washington,
Yeah,
D.C.?
to Washington, D.C. I definitely enjoy going there because there's a lot of different photography options and different things to see. And sometimes we go with my dad, and he has a disability conference that he goes to. So we get different options to see other people with disabilities and different services that are available to support people with disabilities.
And we're always open to anything else, anything new that anyone wants to try. We would like to get classes started. We need to find some teachers. A lot of the people that are artists could teach if they could get past that part that scares them to death.
And had some mentoring to allow that to happen. So one of the dreams I think Kathy has is to find some individuals, artists, or teachers of art who would be willing to spend the time mentoring the artists that are here to improve their skills. So.
And to give them that confidence to know that they could teach. If they co-taught a class and they could see from that they can do it on their own.
The cat I did in oils.
Did that start as a photograph, or is that just?
Yeah, I usually work from photos just to get a basic idea of, the layout. That's actually my cat looking up at me. Took a picture of him and converted it, and that's a print of the painting.
Which one is that?
The red butterfly eye.
So tell me more about that. It popped into your head, and what do you think it means?
I'm not really sure. I don't really have much actual meanings as to my drawings. It's just stuff that just kind of pop into my head that I think looks really cool or really neat, and I just put it together.
And then there's intricate weaving of simple beads. Very simple. But if you take time and patience, it comes up in an absolutely elegant form.
Most of these are aluminum, but there is a lot of chainmail that can be done out of stainless steel or brass or copper, or there's many different, just about any type of metal you can make chainmail out of. Most of it's done with wires that's cut into rings.
Okay, and how much do these pieces sell for roughly?
The bracelets are going for $40 to $35 right about now. Each piece can take up to 2 hours. And then the rings themselves, the cost of those and getting them here,
And the artistic ability, of course.
it does take a lot of time.
Yes. Well, that's a very interesting picture.
Yeah, it's a self-portrait of myself in a bathtub, and I held the camera up with my dry hand and just took the picture. There was a few different ones. And I did a few cover overlays, and in the general hair area, it's a rose. So I have a few different options for that one. The other one's not up right now, but I just thought it was really interesting.
It is very interesting. Okay, so Karen, you also make greeting cards, are they?
Yeah, I have them printed from my photos and my paintings. These are mostly
Okay,
from my painting.
lift that second one up so I can see it better.
That's actually an abstract of Over Gardens.
Oh, very cool. All right, and do the same with the next one.
That was a painting of it's Kayla's.
You could have those printed up if people wanted to use them for
Right.
birthdays or...
Yeah, right now they're just blank note cards, so they can write in whatever they want. But we can also have them made that way.
And how much do they sell for?
They sell for $4, which is pretty reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Very reasonable.
And the packs of them, there's packs of 4, and they're all like related subjects.
Packs
Those-
of 4 for $4?
No, those sell for 12.
Okay.
Like these are all that trumpet flower.
And people like Karen, well, you've seen all the different skills she has. Whitney has this different eye for seeing things in photographs that the rest of us don't. One of our daughters that isn't here today paints. She painted the cherry blossoms that are up on the wall there, and she did that drawing of Cinderella's coach. So she has the talent, but she will not speak in front of a camera. This is a drawing that Nicole did. It's supposed to be Cinderella's carriage.
I like mostly using the natural stones because they have a lot more character than man-made things.
And the one below it?
That one I kind of used my own eye shape and color for it.
And you sell these. How much are they retailing for?
Right now they are about $50 each, depending on how much detail and time I get put into it.
I think it's probably this piece. I generally run pretty warm, and my favorite thing about chainmail is that it's generally pretty cool.
I like natural stones a little better because they have their own character. And if you let the natural beauty of the stone show through, it's like getting to see an individual person.
And what is a block print exactly?
Well, you carve the image out of wood, and then you take and put ink or paint on the wood, and then you press it onto the paper, and you create a print. That way you can create multiple prints, but no two are alike because the paint will print differently each time.
Okay. So art comes in many places. Probably didn't expect you're going to get such a cool picture out of your bath that night.
Yeah.
Something else on that wall?
There's this one, which is, I think it's a Thai pavilion I believe it's a Thai pavilion at Olbrich. I think that's what they call it. And I just did some glossy overlays to have the kind of retro feeling and messed around with contrast in that as well.
And then I got here, and my fiance encouraged me to get back into it. He liked what I was doing, and since then I've learned several different patterns. This is a spiral, or called a double helix. And
What makes it a double helix?
It literally is a spiral.
I'm thinking the gala frame would probably work best in someone's bedroom or even in their living room. And the eyes could go in any room that anyone ever chooses to put in.
Okay. And
I also volunteer at Club for Mentally Ill People, and I try to help them, have a healing, bring some joy to their life.
okay.
And the stamp on the back's kind of been my motto. It's, pamper yourself. You're worth it.
That's good.
I called my my jewelry dragon magic jewelry because dragons were big and scary, and so people were afraid of them. But they were always themselves, and I think there's a lot of power in that. And stones have their own type of magic, so I combined the two to be dragon magic jewelry. So I made up this dragon picture to be the icon for my jewelry. Don't be afraid to be yourself.
And these are all flower pictures that I took at Obrick.
And people should be aware of the fact that when they purchase the artwork here, it's helping to sustain the effort
Right.
of keeping the gallery going for all these gifted people. Okay,
And,
hold that one up so I can see it. Very cool. How much does that sell for?
$33 in the frame.
That's very nice. Good. Had to get the reflection off. Okay, next one. That's pretty cool.
Chainmail was originally done for the Middle Ages and made for armor. And that's one of the other reasons I got interested. Was I grew up doing medieval reenactment in the SCA.
If you could motivate people to this side of town, why would you like them to come?
Come into Indigo Wings. Indigo Wings is an outlet for people with disabilities, and personally, I've been able to be more creative and have a safe space where there's no judgment, and I would recommend coming in because there's friendly people and a lot of different services, and you can just be yourself.
I like to go back and forth to different things. I think it's maybe my ADD. I get bored with one thing and then I'll move on to something else for a little while, but then I'll go back. As long as I like doing something, I always return to it eventually.
So this one, when I did it, I was just thinking, love and infinity. So, and I was technically thinking about my fiance at the time. More of a tribal look for the eye over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Very different. So, what inspired that eye?
Well, at the time when I was doing it, I was just had a really big thing with tribal. So I decided, try to do something that I felt comfortable with. It was one of my first drawings since we opened. And I just felt really comfortable with that one, and I just liked the way it turned out.
What do you make it out of?
I use different kinds of semi-precious stones. There's like tiger eye, there's new jade, jasper, there's some marble, just about everything. Some obsidian, serpentine.
Cool. What else do you have? Is that
And
it?
then I have the earrings here too.
Oh, earrings. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I can move that.
All right, I'll get a shot in. I think I'm okay. Okay, now we're looking at your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend Todd
Windstrom.
did which ones?
These 4 here. Oh, he has a very painterly quality in the way he edits them. He said that he couldn't paint. He felt that he couldn't paint, but he could produce what he would if he could paint with the photographs and editing. The flamingo is one of my favorites.
Very nice work.
She wants to get out of here. So this is part of the accessible studio. So you people in wheelchairs can get in here. This is a desk to work on, like jewelry or any kind of small work like that. The tables are movable, so we can use them for whether we're matting things or framing them. We got a lot of space to do that. We try to keep extra supplies on hand so that some of the artists don't have a lot of money. So I buy canvases and things whenever I can get them on sale and have them here so they're available.
Nice, cozy, warm little kitchen.
It is, and this is a lovely mural that we didn't paint. It was here when we got here, so we left it because it's kind of fun. People can sit down, look at a magazine, or get something to eat and sit here and talk, whatever they want to do. Some people bring their kids along, you know, sometimes you have to have a place for the kids. So this is another table. Caitlin usually works here, but there's some stamping stuff. And, you know, I want the artists to feel like this is a community of artists where they are free to create whatever they want to.
You'd have, instead of making this out of aluminum, they made this out of steel or iron. And they made full sleeves and shirts out of this. And what it was for was basically, it was much easier to move in because it was flexible. And it would keep, most of the time, keep a sword from going into anything.
This is a gentleman who only does birdhouses. He does a badger version, a packer version, and a bear version. And he sells these birdhouses. They don't come with the flowers. And this artwork up here is Christine's. This bottom row is her Four Seasons, and the sunflowers is another one of her paintings. She was not able to be here today. You talked to Karen and Irene, and that's who's on that table. And Drake. Oh, this is some more of Caitlin also does some paintings. She has the owls here and the mermaids that are over on the door.
Who is this?
This is Caitlin, the same girl that works with the Sculpey clay.
Oh.
She does a lot of work with the clay. It's permanent. Once the colors are put together and everything is designed, then you bake it, and it's a permanent clay figure. Or some of these are.
I do custom pieces, so if someone wanted a specific color with another color, like here's red and gold and red and what's called frost, but here's also lavender and pink and what's sky and royal blue. So what I'm working on here is making an entire string of all of those colors. And what's going to happen is they're going to be able to cross those to see what they want.
All those little orange globs on the bottom are little orange fish under the water, and it's a pile of glass that he's epoxied together to give it that depth of color and some texture and movement. I think he does amazing work.
That's real pretty. What do those sell for?
The $290 to $390. Now this we're talking work that takes a long time because you got to start out and you got to get your colors and cut your glass, and then he works at putting that all in piece by piece.
Well, I don't think artists should ever have to justify their time.
Oh no, you're right. It's amazing stuff, and I want one. Joanne, who does the beautiful jewelry there, you know, she doesn't come in often, only to ring jewelry, but she doesn't speak in front of a camera, and she will not be here when they're a group of people here. It's too hard for her. She's just another person that comes in and delivers her artwork but isn't able to stay or do any work. She doesn't even work here. She works at home. But someday.
What's her name?
Her name is Joanne Park. And her business is
how much
Curious
are those?
Dragon Creations. These are all about $60. That's a lot of Swarovski crystals and a lot of work. They're actually stitched together to make that pattern and to be that wide, so it's a lot of work. She has excellent equipment, and she takes some really amazing pictures. She goes to, is this too shiny?
No, it's good.
She goes down to Ecuador pretty much every year. So a lot of what she has here is stuff we don't see. Trying to figure. She has some beautiful like scenes. Those are, I believe, from the Apostle Islands, but some of it is like you're not likely to see blue-footed boobies. I'm trying to talk her into looking for orchids. She hasn't done much orchid, but see the beautiful hummingbird. I mean, you see the detail. And that's what she does. She does photography. These are Whitney's, the big three.
Oh, she didn't point those out.
Well, she probably forgot. This is Bond Falls, I believe, and this is the Presque Isle River, where the boulders roll in the river and cause those kettles to be formed. This artist here, the smaller prints, these are all photographs taken by Bruce. He's a board member, Bruce Chevis, and he comes and fixes stuff for us, you know, so that's a big help. Another one of our board members, she has MS, and usually she comes and works, which is amazing. I mean, she's Kathy Swanson Hayes and her husband. Then she brings along her husband John Hayes, who he does a lot. He does a lot. He's helped take down walls and patch the floor and do all kinds of stuff. So we have some pretty amazing people on our board who have disabilities, but they never let that get in the way. Like Dan, he's been a quadriplegic since he was 15. We would love for you to come in, and you can have a tour of your own if you want to, but we'd love for you to come in and look at their art, buy their art, or try to commission somebody to do something for you. We have lots of talented people. If you are a person who happens to have a disability and you're an artist and you want a place to sell your art, you can do that too. You don't have to work in the studio. You can if you want to.
Please come to Indigo Wings so we can sell some art and keep the business thriving.
I'd say they should come into Indigo Wings and check out everybody's work here. There's some beautiful work. It's very reasonably priced, and it helps people who have disabilities. It helps keep the place going.
Come check out Indigo Wings. It's an amazing place with an amazing purpose behind it. If you're not interested in the art, be interested in the people.